it is time to think about winter stocking. Now, I am not a pantry prepper, nothing like that, but I do admit my pantry is probably a little more stocked than a lot of people. But one of the things that we do like to do is basically try to limit what we buy in the wintertime, other than things like milk, butter, stuff like that, perishables. So one of the things that I'm doing is between now, which is now officially the end of July, and the end of October. So 3 months. Every week, I want to spend between $5 to $7. Now that's the limit, strictly for stuff for the pantry for the winter. And first thing were these. So Clark's beans, if you're in Canada, you can get them at Giant Tiger, probably a little cheaper, but I did not go to Giant Tiger today. I had to grab a couple of things and I happened to be in the superstore. Other parts of Canada, it's independent, no frills, basically where you are. It's all the same company. It's Loblaws. The Clark's beans are on sale for $1.99. So today I didn't hit $5. I hit $4. $3.98 to be exact. So, but that is 2 cans that are going to go in a specific location. So I'm going to take one cabinet and we're going to put in everything that I get for the winter stock and the winter preps, depending on how you want to call it, for, the winter. But first thing I need to do is to actually go through the canning. So that I did the other day, and this is what I found with all the canning, and also gives me a good idea of what it is we're going to make. So, alrighty, let the winter prep begin. The freezer saga continues. So, apparently, getting the circulation fan, which normally sits in a little panel right there, as a matter of fact, it usually sits behind that. I put that panel back in just to protect the condenser, because the condenser does still work. If I can get the fan, I don't want to wreck it. But having no freezer has given me a temporary pantry. Well, what I decided is, since we do have to go through our actual pantry items to see what we have, what we need. It is July. I know it sounds weird, but we do have to start thinking about winter. Now, we're not preppers. I do not have like a room full of shelves and things. I have stuff everywhere. Hi, Orson. Probably heard the cat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of the freezer. I've washed it all out, of course, when it broke down. And we're just going to use it as shelves. I'm going to get all the jars up here. Then we'll reorganize. Apparently he doesn't like the fact we're talking today. So, like I was saying, I'm going to get all the jars out of their boxes. I'm going to get them in here. Then we'll go through the boxes and repack them. Basically see what we need for canning. We know there's a lot of tomato products that we need to can. And also what I actually need for our long-term storage. So beans, rice, I actually know I don't need any rice. But we'll take a look through the cans, the jars, and our long-term storage dry goods, and we'll see what we have. First things first though, I gotta start moving jars around. Okay, I changed my mind. The whole idea of putting a bunch of heavy jars on those glass shelves, that freaks me out. So I got a few in there. I'm gonna put the rest on top of this freezer, and we'll just organize them there, because I can just see me breaking one of those shelves, because with my luck, it's gonna happen. Okay, so the other reason why we do a lot of this is to basically check your jars too. It's always a good idea to go through. Now, if you have a ton of food in jars, but you have a big family, you're gonna go through it pretty quick. For us, it's just a pair of us. We don't go through it really, really super fast. But I did find one jar that looks a little funky on the bottom, and it sounds different from the rest of them. For me, because I've been messing around with it for a while, I can tell the tone on this one is duller. It's a lower tone compared to this one, or compared to all the rest, actually. So this jar we're going to mark with a big old X, and he will have to get dumped. So a couple other things that I've got is I've got a box labeled, but there are some jars that I didn't put the label on. This is Victorian barbecue sauce. Now I shared the link for this barbecue sauce before, which we didn't make anymore because I still have quite a few. But I think it's time to label the jars because I don't have enough for a full case. Alrighty, so this is just a combination of jams. We have got Freddy's fruit jam. We do still have some rhubarb jam from last year and blackberry jam from last year. This whole case though, I'm not going to take it out of the box. I'm not going to lie. It's in there, it's organized, it's pretty, and I can count it. One thing we are going to do though is we're getting rid of a failure. This was supposed to be peach jelly. As you can see, that's not very jelly. So all of these we're going to get rid of because I apparently suck at making peach jelly. Peach jam though, this stuff, fabulous. Oh, look at there. One random Fred. See, all the jam I make for Fred is listed with an F. So that way he knows it's his. I know it sounds silly, but it works. Bad jar jam. Hear that? I bet you I could pop the lid. Oh, I can't, but it is not sealed. Another X. Not bad. Only 2 failures so far. We have another whole case of jam that's all good, all labeled, same thing. I'm not going to take these ones out of the box. There's nothing wrong with it. So I can safely say so far, we don't need any more jam. So far anyway. Now I know these are not something that we canned. These are our pantry staples. Last year after Fiona, of course, which pretty much knocked all those beautiful ripe apples off of almost everybody's trees, I did not go to the orchard and get apples to make apple juice. So I have Fred's apple juice. But it also goes in that pantry, so get it out of the way so we can take a good, accurate count. I have this funny feeling I made Fred a lot of jam. And all good. So, wow. I might have to start eating more jam. That's the last of the jasmine rice. I figure if I'm doing the check, I might as well fill it up. So these were actually just containers that these pretzel things that Fred likes come in. So I buy those. One of the things we also eat a lot of in the wintertime is oatmeal. Now I had the chance to get these quick oats. Now I don't normally do quick oats. I do like the large flake oats, but these actually, I'm not gonna lie, were a whack ton cheaper. I have 2.5 kilogram bags. They were, like I said, ridiculously cheap. And believe it or not, these will probably last us till next year, which is great. So these are going to go into something else to keep them a little fresher. And yeah, lots of oats. One thing we won't have to buy. So like I also said, we have lots of rice. So I've got a lot of jasmine rice. We have got this called Super Golden Basmati rice. I also have some more basmati rice that we're currently working on. Same thing. You guys know me. If I'm going to see a really, really good price on something that we're actually going to use and eat, even though it might take a while, I'm going to get it. This bag was on half price because the zipper was broken. The only reason I got that, what is this? How much is in here? 10-pound bag of rice for $8. It's the only reason I got it. Okay guys, so this is where we actually keep a good chunk of the food aside from the island. Now I've got the 3 shelves. I would love to get a bigger shelving unit. I would really like to get a bigger shelving unit in there, but it just doesn't fit. Now the other things that we do have is the flour bucket, and I just got a new bag of flour to put in here. other thing we need to get is sugar. Now, we buy organic cane sugar. I don't buy organic cane sugar because it says organic. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not someone who chases after the organic foods. So now I am going to start putting empty jars in here. Now I want to start, I should say, putting empty jars in here, but there are some things I do have to put in here because we have all those jars of rhubarb juice and the completed cases of jam. I'm going to put those back in here once we count them through, do our inventory. Obviously, we're not making any more rhubarb juice this year, even though it is still going. I might be able to get another batch. I'm going to have to think about that. All right, let's check our inventory and then start putting it away. Well, I have to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with what we've used and what we actually have left. Very much so. And there's still a little bit more to come. Okay, so it is safe to say I will never need to make Victorian barbecue sauce ever again, probably, because I found the rest. I also don't seem to have to make zucchini relish ever again. So we actually use this for a lot of stuff. I'll mix it in with potato salad, macaroni salad, egg salad. You know, if I make chicken salad, basically sandwich spreads or just salads or whatever. And really, really, really good on smokies. If you don't know what a smoky is, I don't know. It's like it's like a smoked sausage, smoked hot dog, whatever. It tastes really good on those. But I have 2 full boxes that do not need to come out. I'm just going to check them all, make sure they're all healthy, count them, and put them right back where they were. Okay, so the last few jars that we had down there were the rest of our potatoes. Alrighty, time to finish the jar inventory. Okay. Alright, we'll start with getting a box out of the way, which are the little tiny jars. I had the opportunity to get some clearance tomatoes, so I made some tomato paste. I didn't do these with you guys, and I probably should have, but I've got 7 little jars of tomato paste. These I'm going to put away right away, just to get them out of the way. So if you grew up in Ontario, you probably know what these fluorescent green tomatoes are. So these are icicle pickles. This is my friend Barb's recipe, and I've always loved her icicle pickles. I can't exaggerate that enough. Love them. And I made 2. I made some with the skin, some without, just because I was curious. The ones with the skin are a little bit softer, but it doesn't matter. They're still good. But this is all I have left for icicle pickles. Oh, so upsetting. Inventory the icicle pickles. So the only thing that's annoying is that I don't have one more jar of that size to put in this box. Ah, that's okay. Okay, one more box counted and time to put it away. All right, now the zucchini relish that we have in this box, I've got 4 empty slots, and I've got some randoms. I think we'll just put some randoms in here. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. One last jar of Sloppy Joe mix. You know, I'm also going to put 3 of the Victorian barbecue sauce in this box because they'll be in the island, easy to get to instead of digging through the pantry. So another thing that we do like to make is salsa. I only have 2 jars left. So this will be a bit of a mixed box, but hey, that's okay. So we've got only 5 jars of those, only 5 of the 500 milliliter jars of all those potatoes that we canned together. And we have 7 of the large jars. We use them a lot more than we actually thought, usually for breakfasts, which is great. We have 2 lonely little jars of tomato sauce left in the 500 ml, but I have 4 750s, so between now and when, you know, canning season starts for the tomatoes, we definitely have enough, which is great. By the time we're done, though, I do want a full 2 cases of sauce and 2 or more cases of tomatoes, because we use a lot of tomatoes. Soup, stew, chili, spaghetti salads, whatever. But 1 more jar down. So another thing that we really like to make is coleslaw. Sounds weird, I know. But when you make coleslaw, basically you're making pickled cabbage. Believe it or not, it even still stays crunchy. Sounds weird, I know. You can eat it just like this, which is what we do. We just drain it and eat it. You can also drain it and dry it a little bit and actually put some mayonnaise in it, stuff like that. The stuff is good. We did not eat as much last year as we thought we were going to, so I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jars left. More than I thought. And I'm going to break the place. I am going to fill this box up, though, with this. Looks a little sketchy, doesn't it? So when we make the salsa, I save the extra water. You can can this. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the exact same as canning the salsa. But you cook rice in this or beans if you're gonna do like a Mexican dish or something. Trust me, it's phenomenal. I only have 3 left. I had like a dozen of these. There's only 3 left. Which does tell me I think it's time for another Mexican meal or just some really tasty rice. I don't know. We'll put 1 random peach at the back of the pizza sauce. I don't have any little jars left that have food in them. So time to get into the fruits. Now, rhubarb, of course, you know I have here, which, as we've talked about before, isn't actually a fruit. We still have rhubarb actually from last year. I'm going to give it a bit of a shake up. So these guys still taste good, doesn't matter. But the rhubarb is labeled. Yay. That's a good thing. The peaches, I didn't label. But I only ever did peaches last year. So the Amish farm up the road, I can order cases of peaches from them. That's why I have so many peach jams, is because I thought I had ordered all Freestone peaches. Turns out only half the case was Freestone. It was one of those split cases, you know. Half of it was Clingstone, half of it was Freestone. So I didn't get as many peaches as I wanted, but that's okay. We will log them while we have the chance. Now I do also have 2 jars of applesauce left. But those 2 jars of applesauce, I'm going to have to use them soon because we're going to end up with a lot of applesauce here shortly. Maybe. I haven't 100% decided whether I'm going to actually do applesauce and apple juice. It's the pulp that comes out of the juicer. You really shouldn't can it for applesauce because it is too thick. Now you can do it all and then add some of the juice back, which still works really, really well. That's actually a safe canning practice. But using the applesauce straight out of something like my steam juicer is actually pretty frowned upon, so that's something we don't do. Okay, more fruit. Pineapple. This is where it gets tricky because I don't think I have a box that wide mouth jars came in because they don't quite fit in there. So it looks like this box is going to have to be random wide mouth. I don't have a box itself that'll fit the wide mouth jars. I don't know what I did with it. But we have the pineapple in here. We have bread and butter pickles. Fabulous. Oh yeah. These ones are a sweet mixed pickle. So there's cauliflower and cucumbers in there. Very tasty. There we go. And 2 jars of dills. They're all wide mouth jars. They're kind of in there weird, but the point is we have them. Alrighty, 1 more box down. So all the random large jars are just going to go in there. I'm just going to make my life easy. But 1 more box for the shelf. So one thing we do have is this. This is actually an apple cider. This came from those big old cooking apple trees that we have out there in the garden. This is all that's left of what we had made. Now it's tartar. Definitely got a little more pucker than if you steam juice just regular apples. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna steam juice again from our trees, one batch. See how it comes out. I'm gonna let the apples go a little bit more, but this is more like a cider thing. We put mulling spices in these when it's cold out. We only have 3 left, but super tasty. And it looks like our last box is just randoms. Oh my gosh. So 3 pickled beets left, 1 dill pickle, 1 peach, 1 random rhubarb, and our very last jar of baked beans. So our July jar inventory, it's not too bad. So we've got this page and this page. So I'm going to count them all up, of course, and we'll talk about that. But last time I did an inventory and checked the jars, kind of realized we really weren't using it as much as we should. Canning for me, it isn't just a hobby. It's something that I started as a let's make jam and get rid of some preservatives to a let's make sure we have food that I don't have to worry about. So last time I did an inventory, I had 5 pages of stuff. The only thing that I did forget to count actually is green relish because it's kind of buried down there, and I know I've got more than 12 jars. I'm gonna have to dig it out and actually count. I made a lot of green relish because we had a lot of cucumbers. I mean a lot, a whole bunch. So yeah, so we have a lot of relish. I won't need to make any relish this year. So that's turned out to actually be a really good inventory. I'm really, really happy. I have 3 jars that failed, which is phenomenal. I mean, really, really good. Now you noticed I'm not just piling the jars on top of each other. You can't do this. The reason being you may get a pressure point and you can damage the seal. If you need to stack your jars, either invest in jar trays, which I'll find some and I'll link it for you down below, or keep them in the boxes. Keep them in the boxes, that way you've got the box on top of the other jars and you're not going to create a pressure point. It's actually not that bad. But that is the jar inventory done. So that's all the jars inventoried. I am clean again. We have a lot of jars. I still have to do the Lazy Susan, check our dry goods like the beans, rice, stuff like that. But yeah, that was a big job. It's nice to know what we have. It's definitely nice to know what we've used. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming out as we get another job done. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right there and check out that last video. And we'll see you next time as we continue our simpler life here on PEI. Bye for now.